All right.
Episode 4.
Welcome back to episode 4.5, essentially, of A Hill to
Point
Die
two
On.
point oh. 2.0.
Because Brett decided that, um, well, I guess, no, Brett's computer. I'm not even going to blame that on you, Brett. We had an episode last week, and then it was a really good episode. But then it kind of just disappeared because of the powers that be. The podcast gods decided that it wasn't going to be an episode that we would put up. So, welcome back to episode 4.5 of A Hill to Die On. What's going on, boys? How you guys doing?
Doing good. Got food coming. I got Boston Market coming, so I might leave for a minute in about 20 minutes.
Maybe, Brett, maybe you want to talk. Maybe you want to talk about fucking getting engaged, maybe instead
Oh,
of
yeah, I got engaged. I proposed to my girlfriend.
fucking dead. Yeah, who the fuck is this man? I
I
have
got engaged
Boston
exactly,
Market coming.
exactly, exactly 2 days ago. But
I have
I do
Boston
have,
Market
I
coming.
He's
also have
more
Boston
focused
Market.
on the roast turkey and
Oh my
gravy.
goodness.
Boston Market.
Yeah,
Okay. Well,
I got a meatloaf coming.
a collective congratulations from us and all of the our very various listeners on this podcast. Congratulations, Brett.
Yeah, yeah.
I would say it's a little bit rushed, but what do I know? I don't know much. So
She is in the other room.
okay, never
Yeah,
mind.
so
It's
let's
not,
hear why it's not rushed, Brett.
yeah, oh yeah. Here's why it's not rushed. That's a good podcast topic.
Define rushed. Faster than
Well,
you guys? Yeah.
Significantly, yeah.
Yeah.
well, I mean, most people. Okay, I'm not gonna say I'm not. You know what? Fuck this. It's this podcast. I can say whatever I want. Most people don't get married don't get engaged. Sorry, within a year of knowing the significant other. So, like, explain why you thought it was the right thing to do. I'm not bashing you in any way. I just genuinely just like
Yeah,
question.
actually, I agree with Comey. There's no criticism here.
Yeah, no, not at
I
all.
am curious, like, how you know that early and how you feel
I just
confident.
wanted to get this done before 2024 taxes. Uh,
It's a very,
Is that what you said when
very
you
practical man.
pulled
yeah.
the ring out? And
Yeah. No, there was no ring in there. It was a small accountant.
He said Brett's like, will you file jointly with me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but
And-
like on for real note, like
well,
what what
it's what first of all, you're bald. Second of all, Toby got a haircut and he's
no,
bald.
it's just
He's
very
got like a
low.
pineapple shape.
Okay, all right. No, but
Um I would say I would because I all right, I'll be honest. I'm gonna be sincere.
yeah, and we won't make fun of you.
You can make fun of me.
probably not.
No, I'm saying we won't.
I think it's very different for every couple because I've been in relationships before where it would have taken a really long time.
Yeah.
This time the situation is just that we've known each other for over 10 years. We've known each other since I was a freshman in high school. We were friends. We got together last year and it went very fast for the both of us. But nothing felt rushed. It just felt like this is the progression both of us like. So we moved in after only a few months. But it's not like, hey, will you move in with me? Oh, it took after this short of a time, you already want to do that? That's not what it was. It was after date number 2, we were spending every day and every night with each other.
Do you
So
think
after date,
Do you think the
yeah,
moving in thing was about like convenience simply because you guys are, New York is a fucking hellhole and
Mhm.
finding like a place to live is kind of insane. So do you think it was out of convenience possibly?
no, because we lived 3 or 4 blocks away from each other in Hoboken, New Jersey,
Okay.
and she was paying nothing for her rent, and she moved in with me because she was still getting COVID benefits for her rent.
I
So
see. I see.
so the state was still covering her rent, and she still decided to pay money to move in with me.
Damn. Dick two
So
bomb.
it's one of those things. It's one of those
Yes.
things. I
Really.
wish.
Shout out to Brett. Brett laying down pipe, dude. That's crazy. His girlfriend
Dude,
was like, you know what? I
she says I'm top 2.
Oh, okay. Well,
That's
at
kind
least she
of
has,
sad.
if she has a
I was like,
third.
that's harsh.
All right, all right.
Anyway,
Um,
so yeah, so it happened it happened fast, but it didn't feel rushed or fast. It just kind of happened. And
okay.
then after like 6 months, I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be it. And we just kind of both knew that. It wasn't even like we didn't even ask each other or talk to each other about it or have the conversation. It just kind of it just happened.
Okay. All right. That's interesting. I feel like you're very much right about it being different for obviously every couple. So that's
Because
really
if I was
interesting.
with somebody else, I don't know, it could have taken a lot longer. Like I've been in two relationships before that were long term, and I can't see myself proposing to them before a few years.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think the context of you guys having known each other for 10 years, like you said, and having been friends before makes a big difference. Were you close though? For some reason I was under the impression you knew each other growing up.
We weren't like best friends, but we
Yeah,
were. She was 2 years above me in high school, but we were good friends, and we kept up a little
gotcha.
bit. While we didn't hang out one on one after high school, but we text back and forth every once in a while, see how each other was doing.
Was there always a mutual attraction though?
From me, not for her.
Yeah, because Brett had that glow up. You know what I'm saying? Like
That's what she said.
Brett looks like a young man now, man. I mean, before he looked like a 42-year-old fucking, father of four.
Not even. She
But
remembers me as a fat child.
Damn.
He remembers me as a fat 400-pound sophomore in high school with a peach fuzz on his face. And then she said when she first saw me, it was the first time in maybe 7 or 8 years that we had seen each other because we only
right,
texted.
right.
So she said when she first saw me on our first date when we first started hanging out, she was like, "Whoa." She was like, "What happened?" And then her mom thought when she told her mom we were dating, her mom was like, "You can't do that. He's a child." Because her mom knows me too, so she didn't remember me since she hasn't seen me in 8 years either, and all she remembers is a fat kid.
Shout out to the fucking glow up, man. For those
Mhm.
who don't know, I mean, he can tell his own story, but Brett's been losing like, I mean, look, since the time that I've known you, you've lost like so much more weight since then. But like, I can only
Yeah.
imagine the fucking like, it must be insane to like know you or have seen you from like 6 years ago. And then see you now and just be like, you look like a different person. It's insane. And then
Oh yeah. Well,
when I first,
I lost 175 pounds.
right, when I first saw your headshot before we got into the program, I was like, oh, I'm gonna fucking hate this guy. not because not because you were fat. It's just I didn't like your face,
Sure.
honestly. And I was like, and then when I
he
met him,
sees a fat he sees a fat guy. He goes, God damn it.
God fuck it, God damn it. No, I was like, I'm not gonna like this guy. But then we met, and I was like, this guy's pretty fucking cool, man. And he's a cute guy. So that's pretty cool, man. That's shout out
He's
to
kind
shout
of
out.
fucking sexy. That's a sexy ass.
I've also just
Like,
gotten the sense that your quality of life has improved so significantly, Brett. Like weight,
Oh yeah.
I mean, tied to the weight, but even kind of putting that aside, just kind of so many factors and vectors in your life have
Oh,
really.
100%. I mean, this happened. I almost showed you a ring on my finger, but I'm not the one that's no, I mean this one. People say, "Oh, it would have happened. It could have happened, but not with her."
sure.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, anyway, so that's good. But then, I'm still dealing with some stuff from the weight, some physical stuff. Like
But
I have two herniated discs that are related to compression from weight. So I'm still dealing with some of the fallout, but at this point, I'm kind of over it.
Have you felt? I mean, this is a big pivot from herniated discs, but have you felt your type change on stage at all? Have you felt your casting, what you feel comfortable doing, what people see you as change?
What's funny is people tell me that I can do these other roles. Like, oh, you can do that now. You can do it. And I only ever get cast as the roles that I would have been cast in anyway. Now,
Right.
what I do see myself, though, I do see myself getting cast in a lot more things right now because very few people would cast somebody that heavy. It has to be the exact right role. For professional theater, at least. Like I would never get into a production of Into the Woods at 400 pounds. But now I feel like I'm getting the same kinds of parts, but a lot more of them, or a lot more opportunities at least, because of the weight loss.
Yeah.
And that's
I
not
feel
because
like
of theater. That's not because theater is like fat phobic or anything like that. That's a whole different conversation. That's only got to do with the fact that I really was over 400 pounds. Like
yeah,
there was
yeah,
there wasn't much that I could do or pull off.
Mm.
sure. I think I think somebody like you. This is a weird like topic for us to. It's very like kind of serious slash. I don't know, not serious, but less funny topic for us to go into. But um, someone like you who has like gone through that, and then you see obviously the whole body positivity thing online, and then you have to like wonder like someone who has been at that weight before and how like detrimental it was for your life, like quite literally. I mean, like what did you have, like sepsis of the liver or some shit? It was crazy. So like
Cirrhosis, yeah.
cirrhosis of the liver, sepsis, right? Sepsis of the liver. But
Yeah.
no, but seriously, I mean, it just like the whole 180 essentially, and then like obviously you see things like that, and I'm sure it might upset you a little bit, or you might be like, well, I get it, but also like it is important to be somewhat
What
healthy,
what what might
so
upset me? What might upset me? The movement or seeing
the,
fat phobic people?
no, not fat phobic people, just like the overly optimistic slash like body positivity thing where no matter where you are, like you're okay. And where it's like sometimes we got to get like our life under control. I'm not going to turn this into that podcast, but like it's like me right now. Like I'm trying to lose some weight, because I'm like, damn, I could see myself prior to COVID, and I was like, I felt fat, but I was like not as big as I am now. And I'm just like, yo, like my life could be so much, my quality of life could be so much better. And I can see that. And it's just like when I see people being like, people saying, oh, by the way, as you guys can tell, I was able to take off the whole like bubble thing, so it's no longer popping up. I had to go to
Nice.
YouTube to
Nice.
figure that. I had to go to YouTube to figure that out. But my point is just being simply, look, I know life is different for everybody. Everybody's living their life as according to whatever they feel comfortable with. But at some point, I think we have to like step back for a second and evaluate what kind of quality of life we want. And I think that you were able to do that, Brett. And genuinely, like I'm very happy for you because
I
it seems like
appreciate
you're so
that.
much happier now than you probably were like
My
5 years
my
ago.
I appreciate that. My only thing with the body positivity thing.
You said
My thing.
the
I'm
whole
gonna
thing
I'm,
with
I,
the fat body positivity thing.
the fat positivity thing. What do they call themselves? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Uh, as I'm waiting on my Boston market,
A whole
as I'm waiting on
rotisserie
my
chicken.
yeah, I'm sitting here talking about. Wait, hang on. I'm sitting here. I'm talking about how I'm so happy I'm so much healthier. I lost all this weight. I just ordered a large mac and cheese and meatloaf. Like,
There you go.
anyway, but my thing with that is I don't think as long I'm all for body positivity when it comes to judgment. When it
I
comes
see.
to if you're gonna don't ever judge somebody for how big they are, how fat they are, how they look, because you don't know what they're. It is hard when you're fat. That's a real addiction. That people make fun of me for going to McDonald's and eating like a fucking pig, but that's real. That is like that when you pass McDonald's and you're that heavy, you're like, ooh, I could. It's not just I could go for some McDonald's right now. It's like I really need that right now.
Yeah.
And then if you pass the McDonald's, you're mad the whole time. It's like almost like a withdrawal. It's this really weird. It's an addiction. And it's
Yeah.
what sucks about it is you need to eat 3 times a day. So heroin addicts don't have to shoot up 3 times a day, but I still have to eat 3 times a day, and I'm addicted to this thing that's killing me. And I still have
Yeah.
to eat it, but you have to eat only broccoli, and then it's like this whole I don't know. So it's really, really like the reason why people judge it so easily is because it's so easy to some people.
Sure. Sure.
But people like me who I still am and was are food addicts. It's really, really it is the hardest thing in the world. And I've never been addicted to a drug, so I can't compare it to that. But for me, the hardest thing I've ever done in my life was lose weight. And I had assistance. I had surgery
Right.
and I had assistance, and it was still fucking hard. So
I think,
yeah.
well, I just think you said it really well, and this probably goes for most cases of addiction, where so often the people who are on the outside and judging it in some way are um, they're commenting on it from a place of ease because they've never had to struggle with it. They've never actually like confronted how difficult that would actually be. Uh, and so it just makes it very easy to kind of judge that.
Yeah.
But if you actually have gone through that, if you actually have seen how difficult it can be, confronted how difficult it can be, or are in the midst of that, haven't even gotten to the other side and are just still struggling with it. Um, yeah, you're just, I imagine that judgment also makes it a lot harder, I guess is what I'm
Yeah.
kind of, and I guess I think that's why I find it really interesting to talk to you about this because I know you come at it from a place where it feels quite nuanced. Like you understand and empathize with people who are struggling with that, and at the same time, you look at and notice like some of the damage that the kind of overly sentimental and overly uh,
Yeah, because that's
kind,
overly.
positive,
Yeah,
yeah,
I think
move
because
can be, yeah,
that's the other side of it. The other side of it is at the same time, I mean, people really just be honest about what you're doing to yourself. Like when you're a big person, like when you're a really big person and you're on Dr. Phil and you're saying there's nothing wrong with being fat, all the science about over being overweight hurting your health, it's all fake. Like I see that all the time on social media, and how you should be allowed, you should be whatever weight you want and there are no consequences. Well, there shouldn't be any consequences from society. I don't think there shouldn't be judgment. You shouldn't be bullied. You shouldn't be made to feel bad for being overweight. At the same time, it's just it's not even it's like they're choosing ignorance. It's
Mm.
like, and if you decide I want to be fat, I don't care about the consequences to my health. That's what I want to do. Great. That's fine. I'm not going to judge that. If that makes you happy, that makes you happy. But it's when they start telling other people, and now there's this whole group, a whole culture of bigger people who think that they're not hurting themselves at all. And it's
yeah.
incredibly.
I think you mentioned at one point that like you've had I forget exactly how you phrase it, but that you've essentially had people imply that you're almost a traitor or somehow have
Yeah.
done something wrong for.
Yeah. I've had
Uh,
somebody told me, I brought up that I lost almost 200 pounds to somebody, and they didn't say I was a traitor, but they said that I was
trade
I
is kind
did.
of intense, maybe.
They were like they said they just shouted the word treason. Uh no, God, what did they tell me? They said something along the lines of like, and I was sitting right next to them. We were doing a show,
I think
and
I think they implied that like because you were eating something, right? And they're like,
it was something passive aggressive. It was something like, "Oh,
yeah,
you did?
yeah,
Okay, well." It was something like you really shouldn't have done that because now you're just contributing to the anti-fat culture.
But isn't that just a
oh,
further form of shame, right? Like, isn't
Yeah,
that a further form of judgment and a further form of
yeah.
shame? Yeah.
I
It's
think
like
I think it's
it's almost like there's a big group in the deaf community that thinks if you get cochlear implants that's not okay, that you shouldn't do that because then you're kind of going against deaf culture by learning to hear and all that stuff. And that's the same way that it is in the fat community. There's a lot of people who think that you shouldn't lose weight.
yeah. All right, well, that's enough of that topic.
I
let's
mean, Brett just made me think of I mean, it can just be a quick side tangent, but have you
yeah.
seen either of you seen Sound of Metal?
I did. I really like that
No, is
movie.
that with what's his name? Right, Riz Ahmed?
Yeah, Riz Ahmed
Yeah.
plays a metal drummer who's losing his hearing,
I
and
didn't see it.
uh, I mean, I think it really kind of beautifully portrayed a lot of what you're talking about,
Yeah.
uh, and uh, and the conflict over that within the community, the valid argument that I think people in that community have of the importance of deaf culture and what it stands for. But yeah, just very much worth watching. I think it ties in well with kind of everything you're talking about.
Yeah, I do want to see that. It came out a couple years ago. I want to see that. But
Next
anyway,
time.
just to put a button on it,
Oh,
I just
sorry. Go
wish
ahead.
just to put a button. It's just, and it's not just with the fat community, but it's kind of with everybody. Is I just wish that just let people do what they want and let them be happy, and at the same time, make pros and cons lists and put the cons in. because people talk about being a fat person and they just put the pros, and then under con they're like, there's nothing wrong with it. Just be honest with yourself. That's all that I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, I've had Chick-fil-A 3 days for the last 3 days, so whatever.
That's
No big
delicious.
deal. Since look, we're in Black History Month. Hey, happy Black History Month, guys! Yay!
We should post something. We should post something on Twitter.
Yeah, we should. We'll change our logo to just
Hey, you got a
my
Rosa
face
Parks.
for all
You got a
three.
Rosa
Exactly.
Parks.
That's
shirt on.
exactly why I wore this today. Not because I didn't have anything else to wear. So I actually wanted to. I want to put you guys in the hot seat for a second. I want you guys to name 3 prominent Black.
I thought you were gonna say, what are you guys' thoughts on Black
Of
History
Black people.
Month?
Yeah, what are your thoughts on Black history?
I want
At
to
all?
put you guys in the hot seat for a second. I want you guys to name 3 important Black people in history. No Rosa Parks, no Martin Luther King, no Malcolm X, nothing of the sorts that are kind of just grab bags. All right, John, you go first since
All right.
you're an ally.
George Washington Carver.
That's kind of a grab bag because the peanut guy. But okay, I'll give you that. Go ahead.
I mean, is Frederick Douglass a grab bag?
Yeah.
That's a grab bag too. Yeah, yeah, that's a grab bag.
Okay. Oh, I'm blanking on his name, so that's not a good look. But the first guy
interesting.
No,
you're
hold
blanking
on,
on
hold
his
on.
name.
the first guy that was killed in the Boston Massacre.
Oh, that's Attucks, Crispus Attucks.
Crispus Attucks.
Point goes to Brett Cassidy. Point goes to Brett Cassidy. All
He was
right,
gonna be
next.
one of my 3.
Keep on going, John. You got 3 more left. Let's go.
Angela Davis.
All right, I'll give you that. That's a good grab. All right, go ahead.
Maya Angelou.
Nah, and plus it's Maya Angelou, right? Not Angelo.
Angelou. Okay, yeah.
Okay, so you don't get that point. Sorry. That's
Bell
one
Hooks. Bell Hooks.
2.
W.E.B. Du Bois.
That's 3. Oh shit. Shout
I
out to
had no idea Du Bois was a Black guy.
Yeah, I think he was the first first African American to attend Harvard, I think. Okay, Brett, your turn. You got 1 so far. What we got?
He's the only Black person I know.
I know.
I only know Crispus Attucks.
It's like Chris Tucker.
I don't know, Thurgood Marshall, Langston Hughes. What do you want?
There
Where
you
we
go.
going?
Okay, I'll take Thurgood Marshall. Langston Hughes is kind of a grab bag.
We got Franz Fanon. We got how about Dred Scott?
I'll take Dred Scott. All right, there you go. 3 for 3. Shout out to the boys, bro. Shout
I
out
was
to
trying
Black
to text
History.
text Brett a really obscure one separately, so I said Franz Fanon. He said Franz Fanon.
I don't know who that is. Who's that?
Franz Fanon.
He's a anarchist Black academic.
Oh.
Shout out to you guys, man. All right, fantastic. You guys are allowed to participate in Black history. So whatever that means to you, that doesn't mean you can say nigga, but you can.
John, what are your thoughts on reparations?
Oh fuck yeah, let's get into it, dude.
You asking me seriously?
Let's get into it. Absolutely.
Are you asking me seriously?
It was asking as a joke. As I thought.
No. We're talking. This is the Black History Month episode.
All right. Comey gets to control this one.
I mean,
John, what are your thoughts on Black history?
On Black history.
Black history.
The existence of Black history.
I want you to. You know what's funny? Oh, sorry, just a quick tangent here. Whenever Black History becomes like, whenever it's February and they're doing Black History, people will like often comment and be like, well, why do they get a month? It's like, well, I mean, come on. It's not even like, nobody really gives a fuck about this month. It's just like a thing that corporations probably participate in so they can get extra sales here and there. It's not
all
like,
I'm saying, man, like we got a whole country and you guys just get a month. That's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. Oh, you mean?
Oh god damn, bro.
We're keeping that in. We're keeping that in. But with that said, John, both your thoughts on not Black history. I'm joking. What are your thoughts?
I meant Jews, right? Like I didn't mean white.
No,
people.
then he said he meant Africa as the context.
No, I understood. I didn't want him to be thinking that I was okay. Never mind.
You were saying United States is a white country. Is that what you were thinking?
Yeah.
No, I know what you meant.
Okay.
All right. Anyways, John, stop trying to deflect here. What are your thoughts on reparations?
So I think you guys are gonna make fun of me for this. Probably. I'm for it.
Okay, but like, come on, be more. We need more nuance than that. Let's talk about it.
I am genuinely for it. But I don't believe in it in the sense of like we need to just like put a blanket tax on white people in some way. I would view it more as like inequality, and I think the argument for taxing ultra wealthy people more extensively, you could kind of build reparations into that, and because those are the people who have benefited the most off of a system of oppression and unfairness, and then that goes back to people that have been oppressed in some way. I don't know how it would be executed. I'm not a policymaker.
Now, John, since we're already on the topic here, how would you go about distributing these reparations? Would you give everyone a set dollar amount, depending on how much?
It'd be a pen pal.
Obviously, it's really complicated. I think cases where there can be lineage traced back to slavery, I think that's an easy one. Like that should kind of be the first group that is entitled to that. And I would say, I don't know. I'm thinking something about like people who have been uh imprisoned essentially for like minimal drug charges, like those kinds of things, but then gotten it like maximal sentencing. Basically any of the ways that racism against Black people is still operating, the people who are suffering from that should get a portion or a larger portion of that reparations.
Okay, all right. Good answer. Well, fine. Good
I
answer.
don't know if it's a good answer. I'm literally just kind of
yeah. Brett, your turn. Brett, how would you go about giving reparations to the Black individuals?
Absolutely not. I think.
Let's hear it.
I don't know. I think. I mean, to be honest, I don't think I'm one of those people who's like, what did I do? Let me think. What are my thoughts on reparations?
It doesn't have to be like a politically correct answer, by the way. Like, you don't have to think that it's okay to, because I have a thought about it too, and I don't think that like just straight up giving cash is the right.
No, obviously, I think
that
it really would have to depend on what it is, and I don't think that we could just say this is reparations and therefore that's what we're doing. I think that you can make strides for reparations and everything in fighting racism and fighting systemic racism. Now, let me think. I think if there was more, I don't know how you could possibly come up with a law that would say if you're Black, you're entitled to these benefits, because there are a lot of Black people here who are not affected. Well, obviously every Black person affected by slavery, but there are a lot of Black people here whose family was not affected by slavery.
Okay, so like, let me give you an example, right? So I'm a first generation American. I've traced my lineage. None of my family have come like to America. I'm the first to come to America. Yeah. Like, I am 99.9% like West African. So should I get reparations?
That's a good question. Well, the answer would be, and I'm not a Black person, so I'm going to throw the ball to your court. Do you feel like, as a Black person, and I know what the answer is going to be, but do you feel like the history of slavery in this country has affected your living here?
Sure, but again, no. The question is for you, not for me, because I know. I
was just asking you that yes or no question.
Okay. I do have an answer for the question, though. I do have an answer, but
so I think then that I think that reparations are going to have to made in some way that aren't just like Black people get this amount of money, white people have to pay this amount of money. Instead of doing something like that, I think it's more just in like, I don't know. The answer is I don't know. I think the answer is I have to.
I want to amend my answer. All
right, let's hear it, John.
Brett actually has it right, and I think this is the next step after. So I take back what I said before. I do. I mean, I still support it.
So you don't want to give any Black people reparations, is what you're saying.
I still support it in theory, but like you said, instead of just cash amount being paid out to people, that money goes towards very specific things that help build up infrastructure in Black communities. essentially. So education being a big one, healthcare being a big one, reducing and reshaping police presence in those communities, all that kind of thing. Basically, just a lot more opportunity and money being poured into creating opportunity, and using the reparation money to do that. I think is the kind of simplest and most direct way to avoid all those kind of weird gray areas that you were talking about, Comey, of, okay, you haven't directly suffered from the history of slavery, but yeah, when you come here, you do experience racism, you do experience over policing, et cetera, et cetera. And having money working to undo those things, counteract those things, et cetera, would be kind of the best way to repair things.
Interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys my answer, and this is not an answer that I've come up with. This is the answer that I've heard said before, and I think that it possibly is the best way to go about it. Now, do I think that Black people in America, African Americans, should get reparations? Absolutely. Now, should it be cash? Absolutely not, because that's not going to work. It's not going to help to like bolster the African American community, but like not both the African American community and fuck, what word am I looking for here? Oh God. It's not going to, the money will essentially not stay in the African American community to help bolster the infrastructure and the economy. God, that's the word I'm looking for. Economy. Jesus. So I think the best way to go about it would be to reduce taxes for African Americans. At the end of the year, when you're paying your taxes, right, you pay a little bit less percentage of taxes from year to year. Now, what that means is obviously a little bit more money stays in your pocket, and I'm butchering this, but because this is like a Patrice O'Neill bit, but it's meant to be funny, but also like very insightful. In my head, it's meant to be funny, but both insightful and funny. Where one, he's like essentially paying taxes makes you a slave, essentially, right? Because you're working, but also giving money to the government for, things that you don't necessarily, you can't tell them what to put it into. Obviously, public roads, whatever. I get it, whatever. But at the end of the day, what you would do is you would get a little bit more money back on your taxes from year to year, from the time that you turn 18 or whenever you start paying your taxes, for a certain amount of a time frame. What that should do essentially is, one, keep money in your pocket, and two, hopefully to like bolster. I keep using the word bolster, but I think that's the right word to use. To help the economy, both at the African American economy, which whatever that is, but also the economy in general. But yeah, man, this turned into a serious podcast.
Do you think there should be a proportional increase in taxes for white people in that case? Because otherwise you're just taking money out of public funds that could be used to support
Now we're going to start. Now we're going to start having a conversation about how much budget our military has.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it always goes to. Well, what I will say is, obviously, as it stands now, what you're saying is everybody pays taxes according to like whatever tax bracket they're sitting at, or how much money they make per year. So to answer your question, essentially you're saying, I don't know if the answer would be to, I don't think that a lot of white people would go for that. I think that most white people wouldn't go for that in the United States, to increase their taxes, but somehow lower African Americans' taxes in the US.
Yeah.
So the government would have to figure out a way to proportionally, I don't know, offset that somehow. I don't know what the full answer for that is.
My question for that though is less about the money, because we'll just go into more debt, right? I don't know. Is this an economy? I don't know anything about money, so I'm not going to talk about the money. What I will ask you is, how could you? What's really tough about that, and I think that's a good idea, but with that, and my issue with the whole idea of reparations is less to do with the idea of it, and less to do with people getting reparations, because I think it's absolutely deserved. But my whole thing is, how do you decide
Who gets
who gets it? Like, is it going to this whole community? Because there might be people in that community who aren't black, or if it's going to go to only black people who come in and identify as African American. Well, then is that tax break also going to help rich families? And
Sure. Now, obviously, this is very difficult because if this problem would have been solved, 75 years ago,
when it
which,
should
I
have
mean,
been,
sure, then it would be a little bit easier to figure out who deserves what. I equate it to like, was it the Chinese internment camps? Am I getting
the
Japanese.
Japanese.
apologies, the Japanese internment camps. Fuck. People are gonna think I'm racist.
Don't worry, you weren't too far
nonsense.
off. We did have the Chinese Exclusion Act until like 1931, I think, which just didn't allow
Chinese people.
these people to come
Very,
in.
very, very few. I think they got like less than 100.
Right. So
Yeah.
so with the whole
Here.
Japanese internment camp thing, like they were quickly able to find out who was being held, and they were able to give them a set amount of money. I don't know how much that was, but regardless, they got reparations somehow. Now, obviously, this is America's problem, right? America has kind of held this off for a very long time, and I think that like every year that it takes for something to be done about it, I think I think that it's difficult for African American people to like kind of band together and be like, "Yo, we deserve this." I think a lot of people are sitting in different camps when it comes to that. But two, I think the more time that goes by, the less people, the harder it gets to kind of determine who gets what. Again, I don't think
I
that
agree. I agree with what you're saying, but don't you think right now we're in a place where realistically the way this could work would be to help communities like
100%.
neighborhoods?
I think that there's a lot of incentives. They're already trying to do that. It doesn't seem to be working that well.
I know, and that's
Um,
that's a shame because I think the problem is, it comes down to, are you going to be able, would you have to prove that you're African American? In which case, I don't think it's right that you should have to prove that you're black. So you would have to either have to prove that you're African American, or you would just have to identify as African American, in which case it might help. That might end up helping people who shouldn't be helped.
so
It
so
comes
then
down to like,
yeah, that's difficult, right? Then you're pretty much you're in the camp of like, well, we don't know who to give it to, so we shouldn't give it to anybody, and that's
Right.
a little difficult, Look, I don't know what the answer is. I was just kind of throwing it out there. It's just like to really to
Right.
fuck with John, to be honest, because I wanted to see John answer the question. But regardless, look, it's something to talk about. I think that it's not talked about enough. I think during election cycles, it's like kind of hinted at sometimes, because like Kamala Harris. Who gives a fuck? Look, politicians speak about it, just like try to, especially Democrats, speak about it because they want the African American vote. They're trying to secure
Yeah.
that usually. But
Yeah.
apart from that, like once they get elected, they don't really give a fuck. Like if we're
Yeah,
being
it's
honest,
way more. It's way more of
it's
a
a talking point.
than a
Absolutely.
practicality.
Absolutely. So I think that it's just something that needs to be like kind of in conversation constantly if something's going to be done about it. If not, then fuck it. I don't know what to say. But yeah, that's my point with that. Look, I had two stupid like little bullet points that I want to talk about. That was one of them. I don't know if you guys have anything you want to bring in, but I wanted to also bring in. Actually, no, I'm gonna let you guys. I'm gonna hand it off to you guys. Anything you guys want to? Where's your Boston Market chicken, Brett?
I don't know. I keep looking for it. I might hang on. Let me go see if it's at the door. Give me 1 second.
All right, looks like it's just me and you, John.
Yeah, let's get after it, man.
Let's
All right, I
talk
think
about
we're. No, go for it. Go for it.
let's talk about trans issues.
I'm fucking
Are we
out.
just gonna hit every? Are we gonna hit just every? Are we gonna hit just every hill? We're gonna hit every hill to die on in this one. In this
in this
show.
one episode? Yeah. No, I'm
No, my
joking.
Boston. He left it in the lobby, so I'll go pick it up when we're done recording.
Oh, dope. You can go now if you want.
No, it's fine. We'll be done in 20 minutes.
John and I will have a conversation. The second thing I wanted to talk about, this is kind of like this is hit over the head too much, but I wonder if you guys have different opinion, because Brett, you've been surprising me lately. You fucking watching Schitt's Creek, which is interesting, and getting engaged within a year, so that's also interesting. So tell me what you think about astrology. I want to know what you think about astrology.
It's
'Cause
bullshit.
Oh, really? Okay, great,
Yeah.
great.
if you
John,
think it's fun, if you enjoy knowing what your sign is and everything, I'm all for it. I had a friend in I had a friend at the theater we all worked at who
Yeah.
was super into astrology, and she thought it was a lot of fun. And I was like, great. If you think it's fun, that's cool. I'll play along. But the people who like take it very seriously, I'm like, come on now.
yeah. All right, John, thoughts?
I'm the same as Brett. If you're having fun with
Did you take a bump of coke? What was that?
no, I'm eating a little bit on the
He got
side.
Boston.
okay.
He got my Boston market.
No, it's not. It's just it's a little bit of tinned fish, and something about eating that on camera is pretty horrendous.
That's cool.
Sardines.
Yeah, mackerel. So uninteresting. Yeah, I'm the same as Brett. I just if it's fun, if you're having fun with it, and it gives you a little bit of enjoyment. I could even say like if it gives you a little bit of like meaning or just a framework of just making you feel good or positive in some way, there's no harm. Um, Anything more than that, obviously not great. As soon as it's turning into judgment or making big life decisions based on it, and not ones that are just often intuitive gut feeling, but more something health related or something like that. Obviously, that's not cool.
Do you know in the same vein, do you know who I actually can't stand? Astrology people are fine. Like if you think it's fun, you think it's fun.
Myers-Briggs people.
No,
I
no.
can't stand Myers-Briggs people.
People always want me to take that thing. And I'm like, I think at this point I've taken it 6 times. I've gotten a different answer every time.
Yeah, 100%.
But no, the people who claim to be psychics, if you claim you're a psychic and people want to come and pay $20 and get a palm reading, you know what? That's on you and that's on them. But the people who go and try to who get paid as a third party to help try to find a missing family member.
Yeah, that shit is insane.
And then like people will come and see somebody like 10 years later to try to get closure, and they'll see the psychic and they'll be like, she died 10 years ago, and they have no idea what they're talking about. She could still be alive. The gall these people have just to make $1
I wonder
off of these grieving people.
I wonder if there's been one person in the history of psychics who's like actually successfully helped find someone who was like missing.
There have been, and that's why they get rehired sometimes. But then it never happens more than a couple of times. It's usually just a coincidence. It's usually just basic inference, like when those kids in Idaho got killed last year.
Ohio or Idaho?
It was Idaho at the university. When those 4 kids got killed, and there was like everyone was like, we have no idea who did it. And I'm like, there's a picture of a 5th creepy friend in every freaking picture. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, we don't know who did it. We don't know who did it. And lo and behold, it was the creepy friend the whole time. And I was screaming it like from my TV. That's what psychics do. They just call out the basic shit and then they get it right.
Yeah. Look, if I was a psychic who like was able to find a murderer or someone who was missing, dog, the amount of bragging that I would do to my other psychic friends, dog, would be out of this fucking world. It's like,
have you ever seen? Did you see the South Park episode where Cartman's a psychic?
I've seen all the episodes, but I can't remember.
That's the one where the police hire him to come help solve crimes. He's just going, I see ice cream. He's like, I see brownies, and they always go to like the ice cream store, and they just brutally arrest that store owner.
What a great show.
That's the one where Cartman has psychic wars with other psychics, where he goes,
oh yeah. I remember. Oh shit. Is there anything you just want to talk about?
John, what you got? I talked a lot.
A ton this week, sadly. Best thing I came up with was have you guys heard of continuous glucose monitors, CGMs?
Yeah, my future mother-in-law just got one.
Yeah, I mean, I think they can be really beneficial and life-changing for a lot of people, diabetic, non-diabetic, otherwise. But there's an increasing amount of debate about healthy, especially young people using them, and the amount of health anxiety that creates in constantly checking it and monitoring every little bit you eat for the blood sugar spike, which is a normal response to eating food. And yeah, I mean, none of us are doctors. None of us are really qualified to talk about CGMs, which
All
is kind
good,
of
bro.
that's why I thought it'd be fun too. And I think another layer of that being I think
swear to God.
overall increase of health anxiety in the Western world, in the
Sure.
US and the UK.
I wrote
Uh,
a paper in community college about like the overuse of hand sanitizer and how that was contributing to people getting sicker over time because you're like inadvertently killing good bacteria.
mhm.
And this was like prior to COVID.
Yeah.
And the research was like kind of crazy because genuinely people were, you take a healthy individual and they would constantly use Purell or, you know, whatever with hand sanitizer. And over time, they would start finding themselves getting sicker and sicker. And they're like, I don't know why I'm getting sick. I'm always washing my hands and putting on, you know, antibacterial, whatever. And it turns out that, you know, they were inadvertently getting themselves sicker because more sick. They're inadvertently getting themselves more sick because they were just kind of killing off their good bacteria. So man, remember when we were kids and you like drop some shit on the ground and be like, if I die, God knows why, and just eat it anyways, you know?
I still do that.
I don't know if
I still kind of do that too.
I mean, if it touches a hair, I won't do that. But
yeah.
you guys hear about Vince McMahon and all the wrestling stuff going on?
Oh yeah.
Did we talk about this last week?
Yeah, but the
there's
fucking
we
podcast is
but
lost. It's a lost podcast.
The episode is gone. So I'll tell everybody here, every single person who's listening. I'm not going to restate
5,000 of you.
I'm not going to restate what happened to Vince McMahon. Just look it up. Basically, he was accused of sex trafficking within the WWE, and which is wrestling. He was accused of basically, there was like an accountant who worked there. I don't know exactly what she did, and he said she could get further ahead in the company if she had sex with him, and then he started trafficking her to other men in the company. One of the men who she accused of being trafficked to is another executive in the company named John Laurinaitis, who's one of the top people in WWE. And she accused him being one of the people who was trafficking her. He finally released a statement where he denied all of the allegations, obviously, but then he said, I was a victim of trafficking too.
Whoa.
Within the WWE. So I don't believe that. You look up a picture of John Laurinaitis, you're like, yeah, that guy's raped people before. Like,
okay,
you can just,
I don't know if you're allowed
by
to
looking at it.
Allegedly. I don't know if you're allowed to say that. But
I'm not saying allegedly. I mean, you just look at a picture. I'm not saying he did it to this one girl. I'm saying in general,
look at a picture of someone. You can't look at a picture and be like, yeah, that guy's a rapist.
Yeah, you can.
I mean,
I'm gonna send you a picture of him, and you're gonna be like, oh.
All right, drop it in the chat, and I'll respond accordingly. But
anyway, so he came out and he said that he was a victim as well, and so now I don't believe him. The most of the world and most of the wrestling world doesn't believe him, but now that absolutely 100%. Basically, he just incriminated Vince McMahon. He just, as one of the people who was accused, to say she's right, he has been doing this, and he did it to me too, regardless of whether he's lying about that, just absolutely proves everything that she said.
My thing about Vince McMahon is that this is not the first time that he's stepped down from the WWE, right? This is like probably
he stepped down a couple of years ago because he had other sexual assault allegations a couple of years ago. He's been having sexual assault allegations since the 80s.
This is weasel his way back in, bro. Like, it's kind of crazy. But I think this might be the nail.
Like he's he's an absolutely evil person.
I don't know. No, I was gonna say it's a bad look, but it's more than just a bad.
It's more than a bad look, because this isn't just the one in 2022 was he was being sued because he didn't finish paying. He had sex with a woman and he made her sign an NDA. She worked in the company. And then he paid her. He promised to pay her $3 million if she didn't say anything. Then he only paid her one of the 3 million, and then she sued him, and then it was the whole civil thing, and that's why he let. But now it's criminal. Now this is multiple, like, and the lawyer for the woman who came out and spoke out said that there are now tons of allegations coming through to her email of the same thing happening to other women. So now this guy is being criminally investigated for a huge sex trafficking ring.
Let's turn
And
into
and this is for children's entertainment.
And
I shouldn't say children's, but it's for it's cartoony.
and I heard he believes in astrology.
And he believes, and he believes in
what the
astrology.
fuck? Hey, somebody get him.
I just sent a picture of John Laurinaitis. If that guy isn't a
Let me-
rapist,
Let me see.
I don't know. He just
thinking about it though.
I mean, yeah, because you put the idea in my head. He just looks. You know what? I will admit he kind of has a little Brett Kavanaugh vibe about him.
He does.
He looks
Yeah.
like he plays with like with toys in his room at this age. Like
Yeah, he still plays with
Buzz
wrestling
Lightyear toys.
figures.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
then
shit. Okay.
his kids just hear from his room, pew pew.
like Dad, can we play? He's like, no, go away.
No.
There's a
Leave
comedian.
turn.
There's a comedian who's on Stavros Halkias's podcast, and he was talking about how he was like, he started smoking cigarettes at like 12 years old or 13 years old, but he was still a
Still,
child.
Yeah.
So he'd be playing with his wrestling figures and like a little wrestling ring in his living room, and then he'd go out and smoke like a Marlboro Red and just be like,
yeah.
"So I'm thinking Tatalka for the Intercontinental Championship next." It's a 12-year-old smoking a cigarette. That was one of the funniest podcast things I've seen.
Little last thing I wanted to talk about, since I think it's kind of in the headlines right now and it's kind of going crazy. I know that John's not the biggest fan of like tech, but
The Apple Vision Pro.
Apple Vision Pro, yeah, I just want to talk about that. My
I
brother
haven't even heard about this. I haven't
My
even heard
brother's-
about this. Let me
Yeah,
go
yeah.
look.
My brother's gonna get one. Since he works for Apple. Not for free.
I have two
obviously,
friends.
but-
I have two friends who have one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So he wants to get one and obviously like just kind of play around with it and just kind of
But aren't they like $5,000? Aren't they like $3,000?
$3,500 and then plus
Who can
tax?
afford that? Well, your brother will get one, but who can afford that?
Yeah. Discounts and such. So don't get it twisted. But now I just wanted to see what you guys think. Obviously, people are making like stupid videos like online, and people are driving the Tesla, like self-driving the Teslas with it on. But genuinely, it's just for the video. I don't think people are actually doing crazy shit like that. And there's like some dude
No.
on the train, and some dude was working out, just things like that, whatever. But
It
I
does
think
look super cool.
It
I'm
looks
probably gonna
fucking-
wait.
it looks
I'm probably
dope.
gonna wait to buy one until they have a couple more models.
that's what
Because
I'm
I don't want to pay
thinking too.
I don't want to pay $3,500 and then get like the iPad 1. You know what I mean?
Exactly, and that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to tell my brother. But I understand why he wants to get it. He's in the tech space, and it makes sense because he wants to like create apps for it, essentially. But I was thinking that this is and I don't know shit about tech, whatever. But this is like exactly what you said. It's literally the iPad 1. Like the fact that
It's
this is the first
model.
version of this, I can only imagine what they're gonna make in like 10 years. It's gonna be fucking
I know,
crazy.
but people have to buy it. That's the thing.
That's the
Came,
thing.
because Google came out with a Google Glass and it was going to change the world, and then one person bought it.
I think
the
the
thing
tech
with the Google,
wasn't developed enough with the Google Glass. Like,
I
I think
think
if
so, too.
Apple is releasing it, they're probably in a territory where they've done that calculus. And
Right.
it's pretty crazy. Like the
Well,
The
Peyton,
immersion-
a friend of mine who was telling me, like, he said, I just had it on for hours, and he said I could just do my whole day. So he had a YouTube video in his living room, because you can put
Just
like
place
pages and
things.
websites in different places in your house, because
Yeah.
it's not just virtual reality, it's also what's called augmented reality, so you can still
Yeah.
see your house. So
Yeah.
he was like, I had a YouTube video going here, I was doing the dishes while reading my email over here, and like he's just like looking and reading his email and then back at the dishes, and then he would just like look over, see what was going on with the YouTube video, and then
Yeah.
he would walk into his bedroom, and in there he'd have a game up and he'd play the game.
Shit's crazy. So they're not even calling it VR. They're calling it, I think, spatial computing, which makes
Yeah.
sense, right? I mean, like the idea of, VR is supposed to be virtual reality. And the way that this is working is that like you can still see your environment, but like place things statically in your environment, which is fucking dope, man. Honestly, like I can't wait to try it. I'll let you guys know how dope it is once I try it.
I want to go to the Apple store and just try it out.
Yeah, they got them.
But I
there
know
too,
I
so
know the Apple store in New York had like a 3-hour wait or something to try it.
that's not that deep. All right, but
I'm just wondering, like, how many people saw the movie Wall-E and took the moral away as like, whoa, that's pretty cool what all those humans are doing.
I know since just fucking being fat.
Next,
and
Apple's
sitting-
gonna make a moving trash compactor with eyes.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. So every time something like this comes out, I get this weird blend of, yeah, this is now going to be the next, way the world operates, and everybody's going to walk around with one of these, and it'll get smaller and smaller and miniaturized, and it'll be a contact lens or a glasses.
And then it'll get bigger, and then it'll get bigger again.
And then it'll get bigger again. It'll just be a sweatshirt. But at the same time, so like there's a level of acceptance of, it's inevitable. And at the same time, I just have zero desire to ever put one of those on my head. It just really, it something about it rattles me to my core. And I know that sounds super dramatic, but I just have like an innate aversion to this stuff.
Interesting. I think there are people like you, like there are people who agree with you in a lot of that like sentiment, and then there are people who are on the complete opposite side of that spectrum. Like it's like I think the world is moving in that direction, and we can't help it.
Yeah, exactly.
So either you stay where you are, which is completely okay, or like you continue going along with it. But like, there's nothing wrong with being like, that's not for me. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And
Yeah, I mean,
Well, it's not for me. It's not for me for $3,500. It was $1,000.
yeah, sure.
It's the same argument with AI, right? Where AI increasingly is kind of, I mean, could be interpreted as borderline disturbing to interact with. But if you think about kids who are growing up with it, the way they relate to it, the way it wouldn't even be familiar to them for that to be disturbing, And at some level, like maybe the kid has it right. But I personally think that something is lost the more it gets shifted to kind of that digital and virtual space. I do think something is lost from.
Well, we're getting more and more and more into living in a virtual world. So now we're literally, if this thing takes off, if this Apple Vision takes off, and people really like it, I mean, what happens if it becomes as popular as the iPhone? Is everyone going to be wearing one of those while they walk around? Is it, Comey, I don't know much about it. Is it meant to be for fun? Like you wear it for like a few minutes a day, just like, oh, it's a fun thing to have. I like using it. Or is it meant to be to actually make your day easier?
It looks like they're marketing a productivity tool mostly.
It's essentially a computer that you can put on your head. So you're not supposed to be
marketing? Are they is the point of it when they're trying to sell it to people? Are they trying to say this is going to be your new iPhone, your new laptop, or are they trying to say wear this for a few minutes too? It's a cool tool to have.
This will not be your new iPhone, but it can be your new laptop and your new computer. And you're supposed to be wearing it at home, not outside. To be honest, right?
I wonder if
that'll change over time. That's not like a. That'll be an outside or in a school setting or work setting,
Exactly. Once it gets less bulky, absolutely. But right now, it's meant to be used at your home. That's what it's supposed to.
Oh, I saw a Cybertruck for the first time yesterday.
Oh, that's dope. Or not dope. I don't fucking know. Whatever.
No, I mean, it first of all didn't have the lift gate. What's it called?
Yeah.
Whatever the thing is that covers the tail, the for God's sake, the flatbed, whatever covers that was gone. So it looked more like just a regular pickup truck, but it was really cool.
Oh.
Check this out. Sorry, this is completely veering off from the Cybertruck.
Yeah, do it.
The virtual space thing is making me think of it. If you guys, and I don't know, I'm kind of just rolling with a thought here. I don't really have an opinion on it. If you guys say somebody hypothetically invented a liquid and that you could put it on your tongue and it would taste like, it would taste like whatever essentially you told it to. So you write down meatloaf from Plaza Market.
Brett's like, I want pee.
and it tastes. That's wild. Oh, gross.
Sorry, John. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I mean,
No, that's fine. That's fine. Fucking Brett. The issue is that since we're in speaker view, nobody's gonna see that you just did that.
No, I'll make the noise.
you can't even hear it, but yeah, good. Anyway.
Um,
Yeah.
Well, okay, so it tastes exactly like a meatloaf from Boston Market,
Sure.
and then you have a bite of the meatloaf from Boston Market, and putting aside the nutritional component, let's say that just doesn't matter here. Maybe even the same nutrition in the liquid and the meatloaf.
So
Uh,
same amount of calories, essentially. It was we can equate that.
Everything is basically identical except the medium that it
Sure.
is being delivered.
Sure.
Do you feel like something fundamentally changes in your experience of consuming that thing?
100%.
That's coming from Brett, who was 400 pounds. Yeah, I mean,
Because now
So
you're
I-
just putting now you're just
No, I'm
putting
playing,
an
but-
oil on your tongue. Now you're just putting an oil on your tongue that tastes like meatloaf. But I don't want the taste of meatloaf. I want to eat a meatloaf.
You want the experience of meatloaf. And so this is sort of the thing that I feel like when as things move to more and more virtual spaces, virtual meetings, virtual, virtual stuff that you're putting in your house, essentially, that you walk into that room and there's a YouTube video. To me, that you are no longer engaging with your home, you're engaging with a virtual space. And so now you don't have the experience of being at home. You have the experience of being at home in a virtual space.
Which
And
is
that-
why for me, I agree. And I think that's why I'm not going to buy it. Because
Yeah.
for me, I feel like it would be a cool experience to have. Oh, that's cool. I've never done this before. But then I don't see myself actually wearing that and caring about needing to go into the living room to see a YouTube video. I feel like that would just kind of be cool.
Yeah.
Like, do you see?
Sure.
I could, like, John, I could see you putting one on to try it, being like, that was cool, but I can't see you buying it.
Yeah. I'm not denying the like kind of interest and honestly even entertainment factor. I could see something really cool about, sitting in your living room and you're watching a movie and basically I could see it being a really cool and immersive experience.
Yeah.
The productivity aspect and starting to integrate it more with how I move through the world, that's where things start to feel a little bit strange for me.
It's interesting because, like, I mean, we could quite literally say that about the phone, right? I mean,
I feel that way about the phone.
it's so I don't see, I don't know. I get it. I understand that we're moving further and further away from reality. It feels like sometimes, and we're going toward, virtual reality, what have you. But I feel the same way about the telephone. If we were 25 years ago, have really bulky phones in our pockets, and they wouldn't be there would be no convenience factor. So I think that, like,
Well, there is, because now you
intrinsically,
can call people without being from home. Now you can
Yeah,
just
but it
call
wouldn't-
people
but
while
it
you're in
wouldn't
Animal
look-
Kingdom.
it wouldn't look like it wouldn't fit in the palm of your hand and be able to.
No,
do
but they
all
had holsters. It was like a gun. There's like a big holster.
well,
Yeah, people were
Yes.
able to communicate.
and
Yeah,
and,
there's
and
there.
okay, you guys are missing the fucking point.
I know what you're saying.
No, continue. Please continue.
So I think, like, being opposed to that, or like being like, oh, that's not for me. I don't know if you will necessarily have a choice in like 40 years. I mean, you could decide to be like, that's not for me. I'm just gonna stay in the past. It's cool, whatever. I'll have my flip phone, or I'll keep, in like 30 years, iPhones aren't gonna look like this, right? Or
Yeah.
phones aren't gonna look like this.
I mean, this is the
Like-
thing, though. I really do think everyone always has a choice about this stuff. I think, but it's a matter of accepting the drawbacks of that choice. So I don't have Instagram.
Absolutely.
I don't like Instagram. I think it literally damages the social fabric. I think it's bad for people's brains. I think it will be.
You're missing out on memes and thoughts.
I'm missing out on solid memes, but yeah. But no, but there are huge drawbacks to that. Career drawbacks where I can't interact with casting directors the same way. I can't be on top of
Honestly,
stuff
it
the
doesn't
same
fucking
way.
matter.
Social drawbacks like what you're describing, et cetera, et cetera. It sucks a lot of the time. Like not having Insta, the look people give me if I'm out and somebody wants to be able to contact me. I'm like, well, you can text me.
Tell them to call
is-
you on your house phone.
Yeah, thanks. But what I mean is, like, you have a choice about these things, and you both of you could just delete your Instagrams right now, and I'm actually like 99% sure you'd be happier people for it.
I've
But
deleted my Facebook twice before,
yeah, there you go.
and I've been.
But-
I was
You
on
got, that's
Facebook
not
for
because
3
of
years.
anything. You got into an argument, though. That's because you got into an argument.
wasn't an
You just
argument.
said-
No, there was no argument.
It's because he got into an argument about
No,
what?
Yes, yes.
No. I was seeing there was a lot of stuff. I can tell you exactly what made me get off of Facebook. I'll get canceled for it. I got
Oh
mad.
God.
I got
Right.
I got mad. We might cut this. I got mad because, first of all that I was saying. Now, let me just preface this by saying, I'm a very democratic person. I would say I'm mid left. Would you agree?
I'm a very democratic person. What's as opposed to what?
Like
A
blue,
fucking
like blue.
socialist?
No,
What? I know,
like
I
blue.
know.
Yeah.
Well, it's just
I don't know if I would call myself very liberal. I don't know if I align with. I don't know. I am liberal.
I think both of you are the kinds of people that are the reason the phrase "you get conservative as you get older" exists.
that's not true.
I mean,
I'm not. I wouldn't even consider myself dude. I like people who like logic. That's what I like. I
yes,
like people
that's
who
what
are.
I agree.
I like
Yes,
people who are
exactly.
reasonable and like logic. That's all. That's all it is.
And being an actor and being on Facebook, you only see one kind of post. You only see very, very, very left
true.
posts.
That is true. I mean, beyond left, I just like just idiocy.
And I
Just
saw one,
again, I just
and
want logic.
I don't even mean left. I just mean like just this constantly complaining. The way Bill Burr puts it is everyone's walking around at their podium. And what happened was
Yeah.
Little Women came out, and I saw it. This is the Greta Gerwig Little Women. It's a great movie. I got nothing against the movie. Got nominated for Best Picture, got nominated for the screenplay, got nominated for the acting. Great movie. It didn't get nominated for Best Director, and I saw 3 people post about how terrible and awful and basically write paragraphs about how terrible and sexist the Oscars are for not nominating Greta Gerwig for Little Women. This is the same year Once Upon a Time in Hollywood came out, 1917, same year as all these movies. And I didn't get into an argument, but I did post something where I said she did get nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay, and I'm sorry, but I do think there's a lot of sexism in Hollywood. I agree with that, but I don't think you can call this out for being sexist because you're putting this Little Women, which she already got nominated for screenplay because it's a great screenplay, but you're putting that up against Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for direction. You're putting that up against 1917, these movies that made huge strides in pushing and advancing direction as an art form, more so than any other movie I've seen in the last 5 or 10 years. Was that year of that category of direction was insane. I can't remember the
you
other
think
movies that
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood did that. I mean, I
yeah,
like the movie, but interesting.
I love the movie and I thought it was directed so well.
We'll have to talk about that another time
Yeah,
because
that'll take some time. But I just don't think that you can put Little Women, which is a great movie and a great screenplay, but I don't think you could put that direction. And this is a point that I made on Facebook. I said I don't think you could put her direction as being in the same tier as Quentin Tarantino, and I'm blanking on the guy's name who directed 1917. It's Mendez.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you can't put it in this. It's not in the same universe. And including the other 3 movies that were nominated, which I'm blanking on, they were just all these these movies that, not to say that Little Women's directed poorly, but to say it's in the same category in the top 5, I disagreed with. And when I said that, I got called sexist. All I'm saying is I'm just commenting on I'm just commenting on the quality of films this year and what is nominated. And when people started, and mind you, I did not phrase it any differently than how I just phrased it. So
again, my thing is logic and like just that's all it is.
And that's another thing where I just said my opinion. I just said I don't think Greta Gerwig. I don't think Greta Gerwig's. I didn't even say the Oscars aren't sexist. I didn't say anything like that. All I said was I think Greta Gerwig's direction wasn't in the top 5. I do think the movie was in the top 5. I think the writing was in the top 5, and she got nominated for that. All of those nominations were great. The acting nominations were great. I understood. I got all of them. I agreed with all of them. But no, I don't think it was best direction. And by me saying that, I got called the freaking sexist.
This goes for both sides, by the way. This is not just the left or the right.
It's not just the left; it's the right. Yeah, no, it's the right
both,
too. Because
both
the right
will be like, oh, you're a liberal. If
you know what the right loves to say, oh, that's what you're reading. They love to say that. They love to say, oh, well, you got that from this source. You didn't get it from my source.
So that's the issue with both sides is that like
being in the middle. It's just hard to be on social media.
Yeah. So that
okay. Hold on.
Go ahead, John.
Because I'm looking at the nominees now, and I'm very much with you, Brett, on just about everything you're saying. The nominees for best director that year: Bong Joon-ho, Parasite, he won.
Yes.
Totally agree. Excellent choice. Martin Scorsese, The Irishman.
Meh.
That's a legacy nomination. It's Scorsese.
I agree. I wouldn't have nominated Martin Scorsese either. I agree.
Sure. Sam Mendes, 1917, Quentin Tarantino, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
The one that I really think Greta Gerwig should have taken over was Todd Phillips for Joker.
I would have given it to Joker.
Joker was pretty good.
Joker was a fucking garbage movie.
I
and
thought
No.
I like Joker a lot, but I
could
thought
not stand
Little
it.
Women's script was a lot better than Joker's script.
I
But I thought the
thought
direction.
Joker was underwritten, like clickbaity garbage.
I
with
agree that it was
one-
underwritten.
One good performance in it.
Who?
Nice cinematography, like when you
Joaquin
say who?
Phoenix.
He said who? Yeah, I don't know. I really
That movie, I agree with you. That movie was very much a performance movie.
yeah, and so I think Greta Gerwig, I would take her over that any day of the week. I would also say I sometimes one of the ways I like to think about those nominees is could a different director direct that movie? And I think so many directors could direct Joker. I
Sure.
don't think a lot of directors could nail Little Women the way Greta Gerwig.
Well, not just they couldn't, because also that was totally her movie. She directed it, she wrote
Exactly.
it.
Exactly. I don't know how many other directors could do Once Upon a Time in Hollywood or 1917 or Parasite, but I do.
At the same time, I just felt like people thought I was taking something away from her, and I'm not taking anything away from her by saying I don't think she was in the top 5 that year. I'm saying I do think it was in the top 5 movies, but the aspect of direction, it was kind of basic direction.
I do think it is interesting when your opinion and taste about a movie is being regarded to some sort of like identity politics.
We won't talk about that. Anyways,
Why?
No, it's just I went to school for film.
Oh, sure.
Anyways, what was the topic even? I think we kind of like hopped around. Oh, this was
We were talking about VR and all that.
Yeah.
I don't know actually really how we got onto that, but
anyways, just to wrap that up, I mean,
Yeah.
like I think that the future is moving in that direction. In my opinion, I think what you're saying is right. You can either decide to kind of get with that, or there are drawbacks if you decide not to. But I guess it's your choice as an individual.
Well, but also, so people only ever phrase it in the drawbacks if you decide not to. They don't phrase it in the positive, and I do think there are tremendous benefits to opting out of that stuff.
So I got off after that. I got off of Facebook until last year. So from whenever Little Women got nominated to last year, however long that was, about what was that, 2 years, 3 years? I was off.
Greta Gerwig directed Barbie, right?
She did.
Yeah.
You should have said,
and she didn't get nominated for that either.
You should have said something so you can get to another.
I haven't seen Barbie yet. So
we talked about this a lot episode 4.
But Greta Gerwig directed
unfortunately
Lady
it's
Bird,
lost.
and I thought she deserved the Oscar for Lady Bird. I thought she deserved the Best Director Oscar. And I
I
don't
think she got it, right? She
did
definitely
not.
got nominated. She didn't win.
I think
she got
Hollywood's
nominated
gossip.
for writing and directing, and I don't know if she won. I think
I'm
she may have
guessing
won
the Academy has
screenplay.
I'm guessing the Academy has a chip on their shoulder about her now, because for it to happen twice with Barbie and Little Women is.
And there was uproar both times. So now if she gets the next time she directs a movie, they just have to nominate her, even if the movie sucks.
They just will.
Yeah. Should Barbie? I can't speak. Should Barbie have?
I haven't seen Barbie yet, but she's been on a roll. Every movie she's made's been critical acclaim.
I think she's a fantastic director. I think she is a really, really extraordinary.
And is she married to Noah Baumbach?
Yeah, she is.
Cool.
I was asking if we think that last question. If we
He's
think
good
that
too.
Barbie should have been nominated for Best Director.
I've not seen it.
John.
We're gonna have to edit this out if I answer, and I'll tell you guys why after.
Why?
Or we can just say it after we end the recording.
Yeah, or I can just
That
say
was
it.
episode 4, everybody. We're gonna go hear.
No,
John's opinion.
wait. No.